How many of you know VPC? Anybody who has worked or who has any idea about VPC? Anybody? Okay. So what is VPC and why it's important? Till now we were using default VPC. Till now we were using default VPC. Where we were using VPC? VPC is used anywhere where the machines are coming in the picture. So where we have used machine till now, we have used machine like EC2 machine, RDS machine, or your Redshift, or any kind of machine which is coming in the picture. There, the VPC will come in the will play an important role. Now, what is VPC? VPC is a virtual private network in cloud. Okay, VPC is virtual data center, virtual private network in cloud. Now, coming to the network, why we required private? What is mean by private? Anybody can explain to me? We have talked about private and public many times, but what is private here?
No one can access except the who has the authority to access that network.
Agree. That is one. Yes, one of the property of the private. So virtual private network, a virtual private cloud let you provision a isolate logically isolated section of your
Hello, sir.
yes.
Sir, we are not able to see the screen.
Oh, I didn't share the screen. My bad. Okay, I am sharing started the PPT. Okay, let me start. So what is VPC? VPC
So also the recording
recording is
is
started. I started the recording and forgot to share the screen. Anyhow, so what is VPC? VPC is a virtual data center in cloud. What Amazon Virtual Private Cloud let you provision a logical isolated section of your Amazon. Now, what is the VPC in general? So many of you have heard VPN. Many of you have heard VPN. What is VPN? Virtual Private Network, and it is generally used in for the concept of on-premise. Okay, it is used generally for concept for on-premise. But in the cloud, same concept is required. In cloud also, we required some VPN concept. Why? just like VPN, what VPN was? VPN generally isolate your network. VPN generally isolate your network from any other network, and we have a complete control who can access the network, what type of traffic will come in the network, okay, what the security we can implement. All these things are handled nicely handled in VPN. That is on premise. Okay, but but same thing if you want in cloud. Right now, whatever the Amazon is providing, we are using it. But if a company is working in the cloud, they require security. The first thing any company will look it will be a security. Why the security is important? Because you are putting your data. You are putting your data in the cloud. Now, it's your responsibility how you should secure your data, your application, your services. Amazon has provided all the feasibility. So the first thing we have to learn is VPC. What is VPC? So VPC is virtual private cloud. We can create our own network. So till now we were using VPC. In EC2 machine, we were using VPC. We were using default VPC, the VPC provided by Amazon. So why VPC is important? The web service cloud where you can launch AWS resources in virtual network that you define. You have complete control over your virtual networking environment, including section of your own VPC IP addresses, creation of subnets, configuration of route tables, as well as network gateway. So all these things we are going to learn one by one. So these are the all controls we will get. These are the list of things we can have a control or we can configure as per our requirement. Okay, you can easily customize the network configuration of AWS virtual private network or cloud. For example, you can create a public facing subnet for your web app servers that has access to the internet, and place your backend system such as database and application server in private facing subnet with no internet access. Now, what is mean by this line? So basically, I will give you a now real world scenario how our real world the applications are working. Take example of again ticketing booking website or any website where you can book a ticket. So irctc.co.in, this is a website where we book a ticket. So every website has two interface. One is called front end and other is called back end. What is my front end? How many of you know front end and back end concept?
Whatever the customer see on the screen, or
Hmm.
like in IRCTC, we are searching for trends. So all the data what we are searching and
Hmm.
what we are seeing on the screen is the front end, and whatever the data we are putting in the that field like name, address, or something,
Hmm.
all the data stored in backend.
I agree. So generally, all our system will be in backend. All our system will be backend. It is not exposed to the world. So each company will try to isolate, will try to save, or will try to protect their database, their application, their service, everything. And it is called backend. It is not generally exposed to the world. Why should I expose everything to the world? What I'm doing? Agree? I need to expose only the things which I want public to expose. That is okay. And what is front end? Front end is the application, the service which I want to expose to the world. I don't want to expose everything. I want to expose limited thing. Just like giving the example of IRCTC, I want to expose only the information about the railway uh, routes asked by the client has asked a few things. I am going to provide only that limited amount of information. I'm not going to provide whole information. Okay, that is a front end. So here in the database in IRCTC there will be a number of railways trains information, but here you will get only the list of the information you are asking. That is a front end. So here in the front end what you will see the web application website on which you are accessing, right? Here in the website there will be some text box, there will be some uh, search button, information you have to enter. That is a front end. And this is a back end. So in the front end it is a user interface, public facing, where the user can interact. Are you allowed to access the database directly? Do you have access of that IRCTC database? Can we log into IRCTC access database? Can we access their
No,
database? Can we, do you know it is a on-premise cloud, how they are managing the database, how many database are there, is it one database, there are n number of database, is are they using EC2 machine, are they using RDS machine, do we know anything, which type of database, where their machine are located, do we have any information about this? So this is totally black box. Backend is generally black box for the user. Okay, and each company wants this to be totally gray area for the user. They don't want this to be have any knowledge. And why we want to protect, so that any attack, any cyber attack can be prevented. So I can have a limited access, I can have a control that who is going to access my backend. So this is my backend, right? So I can have a control access, that how the front end will able to access the backend. I have a full control how the front end will interact to backend. I have my policies. I can create some tunneling. I can create some enhanced networking or security here, so that the backend application will be secure. And if third party try to access or try to hack my system, I can enforce more security there. Basically, I'm giving limited access. Got it? Yes or no? समझ आया?
Yes, sir.
Any question till here? What is the difference between front end and back end?
हेलो सर।
Mm-hmm.
कल आपने वो रूट 53 का EC2 से कनेक्ट करते हुए दिखाया था, राइट?
Mm-hmm.
वो S3 का दिखाया नहीं था आपने।
दिखा था ना लास्ट में S3 Cloud 53 we connected our website to S3 posted. I will show you again, no problem. You can check the video, but
ओके ओके
I will show you again, no problem.
ओके, थैंक्स।
Okay, are we clear till here? Any question? Okay, let's move further. Now, here the backend. So here I have to manage everything. I have to create my own VPC network interface, everything. So how can we do that? This is a front end. This is a website where the user will able to access the content. Now the backend I have to control everything. Now coming to the on-premise. On-premise we call it virtual private network. Okay, every company will have their own VPN. Okay, so how you will be able to connect, which who is authorized to connect this network, all this is controlled by the VPN. Now if you are coming to cloud, we are not going to go in detail on VPN, but we are working in cloud. So how we can create a private network in cloud, how we can isolate our system, how can we protect our system in cloud, we are going to learn that. Okay, shall we move up? Is it clear what is basics of VPN? So this is a concept of public facing and private facing. So in the private facing, there will be no internet. Generally, I will not provide any type of internet to this database, or I will provide a limited database. Always remember, all the database will be, or all the application which is sensitive will not provide internet to that server or to that application. Why? Because to protect it from the cyber attack. Okay. So in doing that, your web server are exposed to the internet, but your sensitive application and database servers are not exposed to internet. Clear? You can leverage multiple layer of your security, including security group, as well as network access control list NACL, to help you control access to your EC2 instance in each subnet. So we have seen that how the security group are working. Security group is the first layer of security on your EC2 machine, which allow or which control or which limit the access of your EC2 machine, that on which protocol or which IPs should the EC2 machine be connected. We have seen that, we have done that. We'll see more detail on that in this section. And there is one more concept called NACL, network access control list. What is network access control list or NACL? It work on a network level. The security group works on instance level or EC2 level, and NACL, as the name suggests, network access control list, work on network layer, network level. So we'll see how these two are different and what are the properties and how they are related to each other. Additionally, you can create your hardware virtual private network connection between your corporate data center and your VPC, and leverage the AWS as an extension of your corporate data center. Now this is one of the things which Amazon is giving now is, remember we talk about hybrid cloud. What's the hybrid cloud? You are running some application in cloud, you are running some application in on premise, and if you are doing so, you need a secure connection. You need a secure connection between your on premise and cloud. Your on premise network will be running on VPC, VPN. So okay, and you want to connect your on premise with cloud in a private network. So your on-premise will be working on VPN and you want to connect to the VPC in the cloud. You can do it very easily and seamlessly using VPC, and that is provided by Amazon as a out of the box features. So your data center, your on-premise data center and the cloud will work seamlessly as it they are in the same network. Okay. Any question till here? Nice. This is a VPC is one of the important topic. Please pay attention. Please go through the each and every component and do practice immediately. I'm just giving you a heads up because it has so many components are there, and if you have a good grip on VPC, you are and you tell interviewer that I have created my own VPC and I have understood on all the components, and if they ask you for any component or any question on this VPC and you are able to give the answer perfectly, then definitely it will plus point for you in your interview. Okay, and there are many questions revolve around VPC in your examination as well. So VPC is one of the very important topic in cloud, and you will find very few lectures or very few details about VPC over the internet as well. So I will make it very easy for you. I will try to make it as simple as possible to make you understand what is VPC and what are the different concepts by giving you the live examples. But please pay attention. Okay. Now this is a diagram which we are going to create. This is a flow diagram. In the end of the session, you will able to understand what is this diagram. So for now, I will just give you a little brief what this diagram means. What are the different component here? Can you see the maroon line in the top? You can see this is a region. So again, VPC is a region specific service. So in each region, you have to create your own VPC. It okay. In each region, you have to create a VPC. If you want, you can create your own VPC. Now, coming to how many VPC can we create in each region? You can create up to 5 VPC per region. You can create up to 5 VPC. Okay, your company is working in different projects. Your company is working on different projects. You can create up to 5 VPC for different projects or different components. Okay. Now, this is region specific. Next thing you can see here, the golden line, it is a VPC. You can see the golden line, it is a VPC. Now, each VPC will have a IP range, IP addresses. Okay, so this is the IP address or the IP range for in a given network. So all the component in this VPC will have this IP range. So this is IPv4. Similarly, we can configure for IPv6 as well. So it's now, as we are creating our own VPC, so it's our, we can create, or we have a power that what range should we select. Now internet gateway, routers, route table, network ACL are the few components which are new to you. We'll explain you as we are moving further in the VPC section. But you can see the subnet, and you can see the instance and security group. Security group is again a template or security template which can be used to securely uh, allowing access to our EC2 machine. Okay, next is instance, and the subnets we are going to get more in detail. So you can see the public, you can see the private, you can see subnets. What are all these things we will talk about in detail, and step by step I am going to add the component in the VPC. Okay, but just have a look, try to understand what it is and how we are going to create. We will see that. Next, we have talked about IPv4. IPv4 has so many IP ranges are available in the internet, but these are the few IP ranges which Amazon provide you. So from this IP range, you can create your network only from this IP ranges. So 10.0.0.0 to 10.255.255.255. This is one IP range. You can select any IP range in your VPC. Then 172.168.16.0.0 to 172.31.255.255. In short, we write like this. This is a prefix. How we can write this, how we can create this, I will explain you that also. 192.168.0.0 till 192.168.255.255. This is the third IP range which we can create in cloud. Now, what is CIDR range? Anybody has any idea what is CIDR range? How many of you have worked on network? I think very less people have worked. Okay. So in your college time, anybody has any idea that they have worked on IPs? No. So let's take an example. You can write IP like this, IP ranges like this. Okay. In a network, how many IPs generally do you know that what is the parameter of bits 0 to 255? How? Because one byte, how much bits are there in one byte? 8
8
bits.
8.
bit.
So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, 8. 8 bit are there. So starting with 0, it can go to 255. Okay. So in IPv4, how many bits we have? Remember? Okay. So each segment or each component can go from 0 to 125 to 125, 0 to 125. So just like in your mathematics, when after 9, if 10 is coming, so what after 9, what do you do? Plus 1, it will add a 0 and you will add a 1 here, right? If it's 19, so what do you do? How you carry is forward? You make it the rightmost thing as 0 and add 1 to the next part, right? We add 1 here and it will round up to 0, and here we increase one value. Same thing here, starting with everything, so everything will be 0. This is the first value in your network IP. Now if I want to increase, so what will be next value? 1. What will be the next value? This is 2 in binary. This is 3. Okay. and so on. It will go to 1 1 1 1 1 1 1. So how can I write this? 0 dot 0 dot 0 dot 0 0 dot 0 dot 0 dot 1 0 dot 0 dot 0 dot 2 0 dot 0 dot 0 dot 3 and so on up to how much? 0 dot 0 dot 0 dot 255. Anybody has any question here in this case? Now if I add one more, what will happen?
Previous 0 is turned to 1.
Okay, so if I now here we will add 1 and it will all become 0. Okay, so here we have carry forward 1 here. So and in short, how will we write? 0.1.0 and same thing will go. So up to how much it will go? All will become 1. That is the highest value, and we will write as 255.255.255.255. It is similar to writing 999999 values. Okay, so what is the initial value of our IPv4? 0.0.0.0. What is the maximum value? 255.255.255. Is it clear in this one? Okay, now this is the range I have defined for the whole IP of IPv4, whole IP addresses. Now we are limiting it to some values. We are not going to use whole IP range. In our network we define that how much IP I have to use. Okay, and in short we write something like this: 60 10.0.0.0 slash 16. This is the way you will find all network. So how to decode it, how to understand this, how many IP ranges are there? So always remember, this is the starting range. This is the starting range, and I have to find out what is the end range of my IP address by giving this range. Okay, this is the nomenclature how we define the range. So I will just give you here it will be nearly 65,000. Okay, 0.255.255. This is the IP range, total IP available in my network. This is equivalent to this, and how I derive this I will explain you. Okay, so this is how you will find the network everywhere. Just like in this PPT, you can see that IP ranges are written like this. Even we somewhere you will find like this as well, 10/16. We are not giving the zeros, we are assuming the zeros. Okay, so how can we understand the IP? If somebody gives you, how can you understand the IP? This will not be asked in exam, this will not ask in interviews generally, but you should know this. Okay, so how can I decode this thing? So first of all, how many bits are there in your IPv4? 32. Okay, now what is the range they have given here? It is called prefix. What is the prefix they have given here?
16.
So 32 minus whatever the prefix given, or suffix, I think it is suffix. Okay, suffix is given. Okay, prefix will be 10 and suffix will be 16. Okay, so here what is suffix? Okay, so 32 minus 16, what will be the answer? 16. Now Okay. So what you found got answer, and you have to get to the power of 16. Okay. So here we have suffix as 16. We have to subtract the 32 minus 16. Again, we got a 16, and total number of IPs to the power of remainder of this. So what is this value? Go to the calculator. 2 to the power of 16. 65,536 IPs are there. Okay. In this network, how many IPs are there? 65,536. So what is the starting IP address? They have given the starting IP address. What is the next IP then? It will go till 10.2.2.255. This is the first 256 IPs we have used. Okay, this is 1, 2, 3. This is 256, right? What will be the next one? 1.0. It will go till again. Yes or no? Till here, how many are exhausted? Till here, we have used 256. Now, additional 256.
512.
512.2.0. Okay. Out of 65,000, we have just written 256. 256. 5112. 512. If I go like this, what will be the final one? 255.255. If you want, you can multiply 256 multiply 256. So this will be the final IP. This will be the final IP I can use. So what is the IP range? Starting with till
Sir, it should be 10.255.255.255, right? It's the
10
last one.
10 dot here.
255 dot.
No.
Huh?
If you multiply these two things, it will give you 65,000.
Okay.
If I multiply one more, it will go more. यहाँ तक ही रहेगा. आपके IP, what is the final IP range? 65,000, no? 65,000. I can't go beyond this. So now, if you want to validate,
Okay.
if you want to validate all these things which we did manually, I will show you a website which you can easily understand. There is already custom website is available. But are we clear with the concept? Let's take one more example. /24 equal to 10.0.0.0 /24. Okay. Or let's take 0. ठीक है, पहले ये लिखते हैं. Make it more simple. Okay. So 32 minus 24. It will give me 6. 2 to the power 6. It will
Sir,
give me
8.
sorry 8. It will give me 256 only. Let's check it out. 2 to the power 8. 256. So what is the starting IP? 0. What will be the end IP? So you will say, sir, why 255 not 256? Because 0 is also one IP. हम 0 से स्टार्ट कर रहे हैं, तो 0 को कंसिडर करो. तो 0 से लेके 255 हमेशा होता है. अगर आप उसमें करते हो 0 1 2 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9, यहाँ पे 10 वैल्यू हो गई है ऑलरेडी, राइट? इफ यू कंसिडर 0 एज वेल, तो इन नेटवर्क यू आर कंसिडरिंग 0 एज वेल. क्लियर? समझ आया कैसे लिखा हमने? Same thing you can write for any network which is given in a prefix format.
सर ये प्रीफिक्स जो है 1624, तो ये मतलब यूज क्या है इसका, जो लिमिटेड एक्सेस के लिए यूज
नहीं
होता है
नहीं,
क्या सिर्फ?
इसको इतना बड़ा लिखने के जगह हम लोग शॉर्ट में लिखा है ऐसा. We are not writing like this, we are writing like this. Okay, this is a nomenclature which industry is using.
बट इट्स अ आईपी रेंज ओनली.
Range. If you are getting like this is IP range. This is IP range starting with this, and you have to calculate the end directly. So हम बता नहीं रहे कि
ओके, मींस
हमारा
यही रेंज में,
हाँ ये नेटवर्क
यही रेंज में आईपी एड्रेस
अवेलेबल है
वर्क
मेरे
होगा.
नेटवर्क में. Only
ओके.
this is my network range. So in my network only this many IPs are available to use. So any computer coming to my network or attaching in my network will get an IP address from the given range. Okay, IP address. Any computer connecting to my network will get only this IP range, IP from the given range. Okay.
ओके सर.
So what is the starting here? 6060. Okay, this is a starting IP, and it will go up to like this. Now I have explained you how we can calculate from a given IP prefix. But if you want, you can directly go to the website. There are this is called CIDR range. CIDR. What is CIDR range? This is called classless inter-domain routing, also known as supernetting. So the way which we have written the IP ranges is called CIDR ranges. You can find out so many document here. There are so many ways you can calculate. Okay, this is called CIDR range. But if you don't want to calculate, you can directly just go to cidr.xyz.com. XYZ. This is a website where you can just write your starting and you can just write your suffix. So this is the IP which we have started with. This is the IP range which we started with, and it will give you the first and the last IP. You can see this is the first IP. This is the last IP. If you notice here, they are not giving you 0 and 255. 0 and 255 are not there, but the total count is still 65,536. So the first IP and the last IP is it will show you in the network. Now they are not showing you the 0. They are not starting with the 0 and they are not ending with 255. Why? Because in any network, the first and the last IP are always reserved. The first IP and last IP is reserved for networking. Okay, in any IP range or network are reserved. The first and last IP are reserved. So what is the first IP in my network? 10.0.0.0. What is the last IP? These two IPs are generally reserved in any network. So that's why it is written first usable IP, not network IP. The first usable IP. So we can't use the first IP and we can't use the last IP in any network. Any question? Clear? So you can check it out. If you want 24, you can just put it here and it will show you the number of IP available in the network and the first usable and the last usable IP. You can put 6, so it will automatically change the your range. Any question on IP selections? Then we'll quickly start the next part. Clear? Okay. Hope you are clear. So CIDR range I have explained you. Now coming to VPC. What are the things we can do with the VPC? Launch instance in a subnet. What is mean a subnet? Anybody know what is mean a subnet? We are going to hear this word n number of time in our VPC. What is subnet? From the name, can you get what is a subnet? What is subnet? Anybody know what is subnet? Okay, so subnet or network. I'm creating my network into small chunks. We call it subnetworking. I have a network. If I create that network into small chunks, it will call subnetwork. That is again a word is called subnet. So I can segregate, or I can separate out my network into small categories, small groups. That is called subnet. Why we segregate in small group? We'll learn that about in further. But what is subnet? It's a part of my network which is segregated logically. Okay. So it's a part of my network where I'm dividing my network into small group. It is called subnet. Okay. Clear? So we can launch any number of subnets to as our choice in VPC. We can create custom IP address. So we can select the IP ranges in our network, configure the route table between the subnets. Route table, we will see that. Create an internet gateway attached to our VPC. Much better security control over our AWS resources. So whatever the resources which are coming, we will have a more control over it. Okay. Question. Any question?
सर सबनेट का थोड़ा क्लियर बताएंगे कि उसका ये जो आपने बताया उसका समझ में नहीं आ
अभी के लिए
रहा।
subnet is right now only remember it's a in a network. If you are creating a small network, if you want to give an example, we have a huge group of people. Let's say we have 100 people. We divide that people into small groups, right? Why? To make it more controllable. Out of 100 people, we create a small group of 10 people, right? Or 50, 25 people. I have created 4 groups. So 4 subgroups are created, right? So that is similar. We have subnet network. That's a group of network, small group of network. Clear?
ओके, इट्स मींस आईपी एड्रेस और सबनेट ये अलग-अलग है, राइट?
We'll talk about that in detail. How the network are divided. It's all connected.
ओके,
Okay. So now assign security group to individual instance. Subnet network access control is NACL. So we'll talk about all these features as we are going in other further classes. Now, default VPC and custom VPC. This is one of the things you have to understand. What is your default VPC and what is your custom VPC? For default VPC, the VPC which we are using till now, the VPC which is created by Amazon. Okay, the VPC which we are using till now is a default VPC, and it is a user friendly, allow you to immediately deploy the instance. Till now, are you worried about your network part when you're working on EC2 machine? Generally, as I said you, the where the network will come in the picture, in your machine, where the IPs are required in the machine. S3 doesn't require the IP. First of all, S3 bucket is a storage. It doesn't require a IP. Where the IPs are required, in your machine. Always remember, your hard disk doesn't require the IP address, right? Similarly, S3 EBS doesn't require IP address, rather machines required IP. So EC2 machine, we are using EC2 machine. Did we face any challenge while creating the EC2 machine till now? What we are using? Default VPC. So Amazon knows that the VPC concept is not simple. To make more comfortable for you, they have created a default VPC in each region. As I said, VPC is a region specific service. Okay, VPC is a region specific service. So Amazon created default VPC for you in each region. Clear? Now, default VPC is a user-friendly, allow you to immediately deploying the instance. You don't have to know anything about networking to be able to provision and deploy the instance. Till now, do you know anything about VPC? No. Still, you are able to play with your EC2 machines, RDS machines. Allow subnet. All the subnet in default VPC have route to internet. That means that all your instance have internet. Now this is important thing. When we are working with default VPC, when we are working with default VPC, so every instance in that VPC, every machine in that VPC will have internet by default. Okay, so there is no private concept in default VPC. Every machine you are creating will have internet. आपने देखा ना, आप EC2 मशीन को कनेक्ट कर पा रहे थे? We were able to connect to the EC2 machine. Yes or no? Yes or no? So every machine will have internet access in default VPC. Each EC2 machine has both public and private address. If you delete the VPC, or if you delete the default VPC, you can recover it now. Before that, if you delete the default VPC, it takes time. It takes some effort to recover the default VPC. But nowadays, Amazon has created more flexibility that you can easily delete the default VPC. Okay, but don't ever delete the default VPC. Don't do any changes in default VPC. If you want, just create your own VPC that we are going to do and do the changes there. Now, VPC peering, we'll talk about that in some time. Okay, let's go to lab now. Till here, anybody has any question? Anybody has any question till here? Yes or no? समझ आया अभी बेसिक्स? Now, let's go to we are in Sydney region. Let's change the region to Mumbai. Again, VPC is not chargeable service as such. VPC is not chargeable service as such, but a component we are going to use in VPC might be chargeable, and I will explain you what are the components which are chargeable. Okay. So if you go to VPC, this is a dashboard in VPC. You can see one VPC is created for you. If you click here, your VPC, you will see this is a default VPC which is already created by Amazon. This is a default VPC which is already created by Amazon. Okay. Now this is the CIDR range, the IP range in this network. So what is the starting IP address? 172.31. 172.31/16. Right? This is the IP range 172.31.0.0/16. So it has 65,000 IP address available, and first IP is this and last IP is this. Okay. So this is your default VPC. In VPC, default VPC, it has created some subnets which has their own IP addresses. We will talk about that. Okay. So right now I'm in Mumbai. So what is subnet? As I said, subnet is a segregation of your network into small parts. So that means we are dividing the IP address in small part as well. So out of 65,000 IPs, we are segregating, we are splitting our network into small chunks. So as you can see, we have created a subnet. Subnet is a small part of a network which will have its own IP address range in a network, in a given network. Okay. So right now, as I said, the VPC starting IP ranges is 172.31.0.1 till 172.31.255.255. So this is the IP range. The subnet will be in the given IP range only. मतलब कि मेरा जो नेटवर्क था उसमें से मैंने छोटे छोटे नेटवर्क क्रिएट करे, तो जो आईपी रेंज होगा वो उसी नेटवर्क के अंदर होगा. एग्री? ओके. नाउ यू कैन सी हियर, अब ये मेरा सबनेट है 172.31.32.0 एंड /20. तो पहले सबनेट में कितने आईपीज है? ओनली 4000. दूसरे सबनेट में कितना है? यहाँ पे 0 किया, उसमें भी सेम है बट आईपी रेंज अलग है. बस यहाँ पे 32 था, तो स्टार्टिंग आईपी है, अगर 0 और एंड आईपी है. ओके. अगर इसको 0 किया मैंने, सो स्टार्टिंग आईपी और एंड आईपी चेंज हो जाएगा. यू कैन सी दैट. एंड अगेन दिस इज 16. यहाँ पे 16 डालूंगा, स्टार्ट आईपी एंड एंड आईपी चेंज हो जाएगा. क्वेश्चन. This is the default subnet. Okay, so Amazon ने already create किया रखा. And remember, each subnet is tightly coupled to a availability zone. Now इधर हमारा availability zone आता है. So remember availability zone. VPC is a region specific and subnets are availability zone specific. तो सबनेट जो हमने बनाया, इट्स टाइटली कपल्ड टू अवेलेबिलिटी जोन. एक अवेलेबिलिटी जोन में डालना पड़ता है. सो वन सबनेट इक्वल टू वन अवेलेबिलिटी जोन. हाउ मेनी अवेलेबिलिटी जोन्स आर देयर इन मुंबई? 3. इफ आई गो टू वर्जीनिया, there are 6 availability zones in Virginia. So this is a default VPC in Virginia. This is IP range. But if I go to subnet, you will see there are 6 subnets. Why 6 subnets? Because Virginia has 6 availability zone. In each availability zone, one subnet. In each availability zone, one subnet. In each availability zone, one subnet. Okay? If you go here, you will see, you have to understand some property here. You can see the VPC attached to this subnet. Available IP ranges, we'll talk about that. Route table, NACL. Now this is a default subnet. This is a default subnet because it is created by Amazon. Auto assign public IP and all these things. Okay, we are good here. So by default, when you come here, you will see subnets, route tables. This is a default route table. We'll talk about that more. Okay, this is a default internet gateway. Coming to here, elastic IP, there will be no elastic IP, endpoint net gateway. There will be no net gateway, NACL. Now this is again default NACL, network access control list. Okay, so I'm showing you what are the things available in a default VPC. So you will see these are some security groups which we created till now. In security group which we created, right? We created a security group. So we created in default VPC. That's why we are able to see, and you can check the VPC ID. Now just check the VPC ID here. Okay, we have nearly 6-digit VPC ID, 6 to 8 digits. Now, any question till here? Any question till here? So I have shown you
सर
default.
यहाँ पे मुंबई रीजन में और वर्जीनिया रीजन में वीपीसी का जो IPv4 का CDR का स्टार्टिंग है वो सेम है.
हाँ, because network ही अलग है. That's in Virginia. Okay, that can be same.
नेटवर्क सेम होने की वजह से ये सेम है क्या?
These are private IPs. Again, these are private IPs.
Okay.
Private IPs can be reused because network के अंदर ही है, not in public. This is not public IPs.
Okay.
This is a private IPs. So the IPs which we are selecting for VPC. Agree? What is VPC? Private virtual cloud. Virtual private cloud, right?
नहीं, लेकिन दोनों जगह पे सेम आईपी कैसे हो सकती है वो पूछ रही हूँ.
तो प्राइवेट है ना. देखिए, अगर सिंपल मैं बोलूँ, आपके सोसाइटी है, बिल्डिंग्स है, बिल्डिंग्स के अंदर एक बिल्डिंग में जो फ्लैट नंबर होते हैं सेम होते हैं 1 से लेकर 10. दूसरे बिल्डिंग में भी 1 से लेकर 10 होते हैं ना. एग्री?
ओके.
सो व्हाई दे आर सेम? बिकॉज वो प्राइवेट है. पब्लिक में नहीं हो सकता. पब्लिक हैज टू बी यूनिक. प्राइवेट में मैं सेम यूज कर सकता हूँ बिकॉज दिस इज अ डिफरेंट नेटवर्क. दिस इज अगेन अ डिफरेंट नेटवर्क क्योंकि रीजन है ना. This is they both are not a same network. This you can see the VPC ID. You can see 6B6. This is 10. Altogether, this is a different network. So हर network में आपके IPs आप define कर सकते हो, same भी हो सकते हैं, but वो private है, not public. The public IP has to be unique because it's over the internet, right?
Okay, sir.
But the private IPs can be same, but because they are in the network, they will not have any conflict. जब तक आप नेटवर्क के अंदर नहीं जाओगे ना, जब तक आपको आईपी का काम ही नहीं है. अब यहाँ पे कोई भी अब ब्लैक बॉक्स है ना आपके लिए. देखिए, ये बॉक्स है, ये एक नेटवर्क है, ये दूसरा नेटवर्क है. जब तक आप एट अ टाइम एक ही नेटवर्क के अंदर जाओगे, एट अ टाइम यू विल बी इन अ सिंगल नेटवर्क. तो यहाँ पे जो भी आईपी रेंज है वो आप उससे खेलोगे. जब तक आप दूसरे नेटवर्क में नहीं जाओगे, एट अ टाइम वो आईपी से आप खेलोगे, राइट? बोथ आर इन डिफरेंट नेटवर्क, तो सेम आईपी रेंज हो सकते हैं. बट इफ यू आर ओवर द इंटरनेट, अगर आप इंटरनेट के ऊपर हो, then you should have a unique IP. Okay, we'll see that कैसे होता है अच्छे से हो. Now it's up to you. You have to create now we are going to create a custom VPC. अब हम हमारा खुद का VPC create करने वाले हैं. Now it's your choice in which region do you want to create. I'm creating in Mumbai region. It's up to you in which region you want to create. Okay, you can create in Mumbai, you can create in Virginia. Now go to your VPC, click here, create VPC. Okay, create VPC. Now again, I can see a new component they have added. ये last month नहीं था, but we are only creating VPC right now. Don't go and create more. I think यहाँ पे सब कुछ दे देगा एक साथ. हाँ, सारे component दे दिए उसमें. Nice. You can use this component when you are able to understand VPC end to end. ठीक है? So I'm not creating. एक मिनट ना. Let me check. यहाँ पे क्या क्या create करके देगा? Okay, I don't want. I just want only VPC. Okay. Now give your name my VPC. So again, they have launched a new service. I have to check that out. So you can give the name. It's again an optional thing. Now here is a mandatory IPv4 range. Okay. So before going that, I will show you the steps I have given you in your assignment. Can you see? Assignment number 1, assignment number 2, 3 and 4. We have to complete 4 assignments. So in the assignment number 1, if you open, all the steps are given here. I have written these steps because I know the VPC is quite complicated. Please follow these steps, and I am going to follow these steps as well so that you will be more comfortable. So create a new VPC. I will make it more clear. Okay, create VPC, give a name and give a CIDR range. Now it's up to you what IP range you want to give. Now the question comes, sir, how can we select the IP range? हाउ कैन वी सिलेक्ट द आईपी रेंज? हम आईपी रेंज कैसे सिलेक्ट कर सकते हैं? सो फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल आपको ये समझना पड़ेगा कि अमेजोन ने आईपी रेंज कितनी दी है. सो व्हाट इज द आईपी रेंज अमेजोन हैज प्रोवाइडेड? व्हाट इज द लिस्ट ऑफ आईपी व्हिच वी कैन यूज इन अमेजोन? आई हैव शोन यू. सो अमेजोन कौन सी आईपी रेंज दे रहा है? सो दिस इज आईपी रेंज यू कैन सिलेक्ट यूज इन अमेजोन. ओके, उसके डॉक्यूमेंट्स में भी मिल जाएगा आपको. नाउ इन दिस आईपी रेंज व्हाट हाउ मेनी आईपीज डू यू वांट? कि ये जो आईपी तो ठीक है, अमेजोन ने बोला कि ये आईपी रेंजेस में से आप बना सकते हो अपना नेटवर्क, प्राइवेट नेटवर्क, बट व्हाट आईपीज यू वांट? सो यू हैव टू अंडरस्टैंड हाउ मेनी मशीन्स you are going to create in your network, because each machine require an IP address. Each and every machine require an IP address. हर machine को IP address चाहिए. So if you are creating a very small network, okay, so 10.0.0.0/30, जितना बड़ा नंबर उतना छोटा IP range. So you can check it out here कि अगर मैं 10 डॉट रखता हूँ, जितना स्लैश में छोटा रखा ना आपने, उतना आपका वो कम होता है. देखो 4 IP खाली नेटवर्क में. 24 to 56 IP. 20, जैसे जैसे मैं नंबर छोटा करूँगा IP बढ़ते जाएंगे. So you have to make sure, or when a network people create a network, you have to understand how many machines you are going to create in this network, because each machine required an IP. Each and every machine, each and every computing machine required an IP. So you have to make sure that you are creating enough IP range for your network. So that's we are going to create /16. That's why we are going to create /16. Okay. Now, do you want to enable IPv6? It's up to you. If you want, Amazon can allocate you the IPv6. Okay. And if you have your own IPv6 range, you can configure that here. But I don't have any IP pool right now available for me, so that's why I'm going to use a default one. Okay, default tendency. and just create. Amazon provided IPv6. Just create. Now you can see my VPC is created. Now, if you see the IP address, the IP ID, the VPC ID, this one is a very huge number. So if you want to segregate, if you want to remember that what is my IP address, is a default one or this my one, so you will see that the one which we created has a very huge number. Okay. Now just go to your VPC, and if you want, you can check the details. What are the details in my VPC? So this is the VPC ID. Okay, DNS right now we didn't enable any DNS, not required. This is the IP range which we configured. Is this a default VPC? No, it's not a default VPC. It's a custom VPC which we have created. Okay, IP pull IPv6. Okay, CIDR range of IPv6 and IPv4. These are the both. Okay, and CIDR range you can see here as well. IPv6 versus IPv4. Flow log not required right now. Tags just name. Right now this is the default. This is a VPC which we created. Now when we created our VPC, what are the default parameters we will get? If you go to subnet, पहले भी 3 सबनेट थे, अभी भी 3 सबनेट है. Did we created any subnet? When we created a VPC, when we created a new VPC, did the subnet created? No. How can we verify? You can see here. This all three are attached to default VPC. This all are attached to default VPC. Okay. And route table. Now you can see previously there was only one route table which was attached to default VPC, but when we create our own VPC, the custom VPC, a new route table is created. Okay. Now internet gateway. So there is no internet gateway created. These are not elastic IP, not required. NAT gateway, there is no NAT gateway. NACL, network access control list. If you see here, NACL is created for our VPC. And security group. If you see here, refresh it, a security group is created for our VPC. So what are the components created by default when we create our network, when we create our own VPC? A route table was created, NACL was created, and security group was created. I have shown in the diagram as well. So when we create a VPC, this is a default components created. These are default component created when we create our VPC. One is route table, NACL, and security group. Clear? Any question till here? So what are the default parameters? What are the default components which are getting created when we create a security group, VPC? Whenever we are creating a VPC, what are the default components we get? Route table, NACL, and security group. This is you have to remember. Route table, NACL, and security group. No subnets are created. No net gateway, no internet gateway. Clear? Till here, anybody has any question? Anybody has any question, let me know. समझ आया? I'm not rushing it. That's why I wanted you to understand clearly. If you want, I can speak in Hindi as well. पूरा ये VPC generally मैं हिंदी में लेता हूँ. But it's up to you. If you are able to understand, it's good. If you want, I can switch to Hindi. Is it clear till this point? किसी को कोई question है, कोई doubt है? I'm taking it very slowly. VPC. Okay. So do you want me to continue, or do you want it to take a break and continue tomorrow?
Sir, please don't continue, sir.
Okay. So whenever you
सर इफ यू डोंट माइंड एक और बार मतलब हिंदी में भी थोड़ा कंफ्यूजिंग है सो पॉसिबल
एक और बात देखिए, मैं अभी स्टार्ट ही किया है, सो इसके आगे मैं हिंदी में ले सकता हूँ. जो बेसिक थियरी था ना,
व्हेनेवर यू आर कंफर्टेबल सर.
नहीं नहीं, मतलब मैं इसके आगे मैं हिंदी में ले लेता हूँ पूरा. बट इससे जो पहले हमने पढ़ा, उसमें कोई डाउट है क्या आपको? मतलब जो हमने अभी तक पढ़ा सुबह से लेके अभी तक, उसमें कोई डाउट है क्या?
एक्चुअली नेटवर्क थोड़ा न्यू है तो
Okay.
ऑल दीज टर्म्स थोड़े एलियन है तो ऐसे
देखिए,
हाँ
वही मैं कह रहा हूँ. तो ये एक बार आप वीपीसी का एक सबसे इजी तरीका है पढ़ने का कि आज जाके एक बार पढ़ो आप. ठीक है.
यस सर.
मैंने
ओके
इसलिए ज्यादा करवाया ही नहीं है, अब इतना ही करवाया हमने. सो नेटवर्क मुझे
ओके
पता है
सर.
सबके बाउंस जाता है. इट विल गो बाउंसर. बट व्हाट इज द बेस्ट थिंग टू लर्न इट? बिकॉज व्हेन आई स्टार्टेड इट वाज बाउंसर फॉर मी आल्सो. बट do practice at least 5 times. VPs, I didn't say practice for EC2 5 times. I didn't say practice for S3 5 times, because you are going to work on EC2 machine, S3, and number of times. But in VPC, it's a totally networking part. After completing the VPC, before going to interview or before going for your examination, at least try to create VPC through your mind, matlab without going to the document. If you are able to create VPC at least 2 times without checking the documents, without checking the PPT, then you are ready. मतलब एग्जाम से जाने से पहले जब तक आपने 2 बार अपने माइंड से, अपनी मेमोरी से VPC नहीं बनाया, डोंट गो टू द एग्जामिनेशन और फॉर इंटरव्यू. गेटिंग? सो दैट्स व्हाई आई एम गोइंग स्लोली. सो जितना भी हमने पढ़ा, हमने क्या पढ़ा कि VPC क्या होता है? इट्स अ प्राइवेट नेटवर्क इन क्लाउड. इट्स सिमिलर टू VPN जो हमारा ऑन प्रीमाइस में होता है. ओके, ठीक है. और इसमें सारे बहुत सारे कंपोनेंट्स है जो कि हम धीरे धीरे हम करेंगे. सो कौन कौन से कंपोनेंट है? इंटरनेट गेटवे, राउट टेबल, NACL, सिक्योरिटी ग्रुप, सबनेट्स. दिस आर ऑल कंपोनेंट वी आर गोइंग टू कवर स्लोली. आई हैव एक्सप्लेन कि CIDR रेंज क्या होता है, ये क्लियर है? कि IP एड्रेस के रेंज होते हैं, कैसे हमको पढ़ना होता है, वो क्लियर है? सो अगर आपको कोई भी डाउट हो ना, प्लीज स्टॉप मी ना. राइट?
यस सर.
ओके. स्नेहा, अगर आपको कोई भी डाउट है, प्लीज आप मुझे बोलिए. आई विल स्टॉप देयर एंड आई विल एक्सप्लेन यू. Okay, don't wait for me to wait till end. ठीक है.
यस सर. यस
So
सर.
that's why I'm taking very slow. VPC, I want to take it very slow. I don't want to rush it. I know it is quite confusing, but I'm making sure that I have written all the component, all the features which you will require for interview as well as exam. So PPTs में सब कुछ मैंने शॉर्ट में डाल रखा है. Just go through it once. Okay. अगर नहीं समझ आ रहा, मुझे पता है व्हाट इज पब्लिक आईपी, व्हाट इज प्राइवेट आईपी, ये इजी है. डिफॉल्ट VPC मैंने आपको बताया.
सर VPC भी मतलब कंसेप्चुअली समझ में आया. लाइक आई एम कंपेयरिंग इट विद VPN एंड तो वो एक कंसेप्ट क्या है? इट इज अवेलेबिलिटी जोन स्पेसिफिक, रीजन स्पेसिफिक होता है, सबनेट, दैट एंड ऑल आई फॉलोड. बट जब भी CIDR इन्वॉल्व हो रहा है तो इट्स गेटिंग कॉम्प्लिकेटेड.
तो CIDR पे छोड़ दीजिए. जस्ट दिस इज द IP एड्रेस रेंज. Okay. In a network there
राइट.
will be a range of IP. Without the IP
करेक्ट.
range we can't work, because why we require IP? First of all, we talk about IP address so many times. Why we require IP? Every computer,
यूनिक आइडेंटिफिकेशन.
it's kind of, we need to connect to the network, right? Network connect करना मतलब computer से connect करना. We need to connect to a computer. One computer need to communicate with another computer. That's how the network works. If you don't want to connect, if you disconnect your internet, you are isolated, right? if you are not connecting to any network, you can work isolatedly. But in industry, everything is working on connection. Agree? We need to connect from one IP, one computer to another computer. Does it make sense? When
Yes, sir.
so, if you want to connect, what is the how computers are connected to each other through an IP address? हम एक दूसरे से बात कैसे करते हैं? हम लोग नाम से बात करते हैं एक बंदे को. प्रोटोकॉल वगैरह बाद में आते हैं. सबसे प्राइमरी चीज ह्यूमन के लिए क्या है? नेम. एग्री? We require a name, and in a given house, we all the people have a unique name. एक घर के अंदर आपने कभी ऐसा देखा कि एक ही घर के अंदर या एक ही फैमिली में, फैमिली ट्री में एक ही नाम 2 बार यूज हुआ है? कभी ऐसा हुआ है? अलग अलग फैमिली में
No, sir.
सेम नेम हो सकते हैं, बट एक ही
Yes.
फैमिली ट्री में हम वी ट्राई दैट वी डोंट यूज द सेम नेम अगेन. एग्री? सो आईपी भी वैसे
Yes,
ही है
sir.
कि हर कंप्यूटर को जो भी उस नेटवर्क में अटैच हो रहा है, अगर वो नेटवर्क में कंप्यूटर आ रहा है तो फैमिली बन गया. तो उसको हमको क्या देना पड़ेगा? आईपी एड्रेस. यस.
Yes, sir.
ठीक है. तो जैसे ही वो आईपी है तो हमको एक आईपी रेंज देना पड़ेगा. सो मेरे को देना पड़ेगा कि दिस इज द पूल ऑफ आईपी, सिलेक्ट एनी आईपी एड्रेस. ओके. सो दैट इज अ सीआईडीआर रेंज, और उसको सिंपल बोलूं आईपी रेंज सिंप्लिसिटी के लिए. क्लियर? लिस्ट ऑफ आईपीस इन अ नेटवर्क.
Okay.
गॉट इट?
Okay, sir.
सो हमको जब भी कोई नेटवर्क बनाते हो आप, इट्स तो आपको एक आईपी पुल बना के रखना पड़ता है. आईपी पुल मतलब लिस्ट ऑफ आईपीस, एंड ऑल दिस आईपीस विल बी प्राइवेट, बिकॉज हम प्राइवेट वीपीसी मतलब प्राइवेट है ना, पहले ही नाम में लिखा है वर्चुअल प्राइवेट कंप्यूटर, या वीपीएन मतलब एवरी आईपीस इन दिस नेटवर्क आर प्राइवेट. क्लियर?
Yes.
Okay. That's why I didn't go to peering and all these things right now. I started with the lab. So now, whenever we are creating a VPC, okay, so till now we are getting default VPC. Why we are not using default VPC? Because we don't have any control there. Everything is public. I told you. In default VPC, if you connect to that network, all the EC2 machine will be connecting to internet. Do we require that? In your organization, as I said initially, we have a backend, front end and backend, right? You required your backend services to be private. Is this possible in default VPC?
No, sir.
डिफॉल्ट VPC में होगा ये चीज? नहीं होगा ना.
Nine.
ठीक है. So that's why we have to get rid of default VPC and we have to create our own VPC. Now, if you are creating your own VPC, you should know the property of your before creating. You should have some understanding. क्या होता है क्या नहीं होता. That's what we are learning. Got it? Now, when we create a VPC, this three components will be created by default. This three component will be created by default. अब जब VPC बनाया हमने, when we created the VPC, we have given the IP range. वो हमने select किया. अब आप बोलोगे सर IP range कैसे select करेंगे? Now it's a decision of your company, stakeholders, कि जब नेटवर्क बना रहे हैं हम लोग, तो ये इतने IP range चाहिए होंगे और ये IP की CIDR range होगी. So in this IP range, how many IPs will be available in the IP pool? 65,000. Got it? That is fair enough. 65,000 compute can be running in this VPC without any problem parallelly. जैसे कोई आपने EC2 machine बनाया, as soon as you create a EC2 machine, that EC2 machine will take one IP address. Agree? So how many IP addresses are available in the pool? 65,000 in my custom VPC. Got it? And this will be the private IP range available. And as soon as I created the VPC, these are the three components which are created. Got it? I'm stopping here. I'm not going further. I'm not going to create further thing. But till here, any question?
सर ये जो 10.0.0 मतलब जो 10 से चालू हो रहे, जो 172 से चालू हो रहे, वो सिर्फ अमेजोन ही देता है.
So there are in again the IP ranges or IP which is public, which is private, it is again managed by a organization. Okay, कि ये private IPs का range है.
नहीं नहीं सर, वैसा
और
नहीं क्वेश्चन, ये जो है
right.
अमेजोन और समझो माइक्रोसॉफ्ट एजोर है, तो उनका जो स्टार्टिंग रेंज रहेगा, जैसे ये 10 से स्टार्ट हो रहा है, तो ये अमेजोन में अपन पढ़ रहे हैं, अगर एजोर पढ़ते रहेंगे कोई दूसरे बंदे, तो उनका आईपी एड्रेस का रेंज जो है या स्टार्टिंग जो है वो अलग रहेगा कि सेम हो सकता है?
That's what I'm. First of all, there is an organization which has decided which IP range will be used as a private. We can't use any IP range. 32 बिट्स की जो IP का जो वो है 0 से लेके 255 255 255, उनमें सारे IP रेंज हम पब्लिक या प्राइवेट नहीं बोलते. So there are a list of IP address which are categorized into private. ऐसा नहीं कि वही होगा.
ओके, नहीं नहीं मतलब अभी जो पुलिस स्टेशन जो हम लोग वर्क कर रहे हैं, मैं जहाँ पे वर्क कर रहा हूँ अभी फिलहाल, तो वो पुलिस स्टेशन में 10 से आईपी एड्रेस सब स्टार्ट हो रहे हैं.
राइट.
तो जो पुलिस स्टेशन का जो प्रोजेक्ट चालू है, तो वो AWS पे चालू है कि एजोर पे चालू है या अदर? हाँ, वही पूछ रहा था.
So this is a IP ranges in the, we have defined that this IP will be used as a private. This IP range will be used as a private. You can see I have searched just private IP addresses in the network. So generally हमने ये बोला है, प्रोटोकॉल बोला कि यही IP एड्रेस आप प्राइवेट में यूज करो. You can see this range, and out of this 3 IP, Amazon is providing how many IPs? I will show you. Out of this, Amazon is providing you this IP ranges, so you can compare. So it's not that Amazon is selecting the private. It is first of all it is given by the organization. The private IP range यही होगा. उसमें से देखो 10.0.0.0./8 है. Here it's 8, but Amazon is providing 8. Here 172.16.0.0/12, Amazon is providing that also, and 192.16.0.0/16. So ये सारे IP range Amazon provide कर रहा है, that will be coming in a private range. So ये Amazon decide नहीं कर रहा है. This is again decided by a organization which is controlling the IP ranges. Clear? So this is again there are some concepts are called class A network, class B network, class C network. Okay, so class A में ये इन्होंने categorize कर रखे. There are so many categorization are there in the IP ranges as well. It's not that straightforward. So class A IP address is this. Class B IP address is this. Something like this. Okay. So if you go further in networking, you will understand why and how. But as a simplicity, this is a private IP in any network, not in cloud or not in private or not in Azure. It's anywhere, and it's adoption कि Amazon आपको इनमें से कितना दे रहा है. Amazon सारा दे रहा है. Clear?
ओके सर, थैंक यू.
Yeah. So देखो यहाँ पे अगर आप वापस देखोगे आईना will come in the picture. हमने सुना था कल आईना. Okay. Any question? ठीक है, चलिए ब्रेक लेते हैं, वापिस और करते हैं कंटिन्यू. ठीक है, कल यहीं से कंटिन्यू करते हैं. आई विल स्टॉप द रिकॉर्डिंग, बट फॉर VPC प्लीज डोंट टेक गैप. जैसे हम पढ़ा रहे हैं वैसे करते हैं, वैसे ही आप प्रैक्टिस करो प्लीज.